Thanks for tuning in to today's broadcast.
There's been a lot of people on vacation. Some people have been on vacation. Some people have not really been getting what thus saith the Lord. Some people have been getting religion and tradition. Not because they're evil. They just, the person that gave them the religion and tradition, that's what they was taught. So God is trying to get us calibrated to what he wants us to do. All right, so the scripture says in Philippians 3, he says we're apprehending that which is apprehending us. So God's trying to apprehend us, but we're trying to apprehend him. Draw nigh to him, he'll draw nigh unto you. James chapter 4, verse 8. James chapter 4, verse 8. James chapter 4, verse 8. Draw nigh unto him, and he'll draw nigh unto you. Look, so if you're the large rock, and he's the bigger rock, he's trying to say, you fit with me, but you're also a piece of me. You fit with me, so I'm your fit, is what God is saying. He said, but God is also saying, you're my missing piece. So draw nigh to me, and I'm drawing nigh to you. I need you. You're part of the whole piece. You're part of the whole purpose. Everybody has a piece, right? Let's go to Ecclesiastes 5. Now look at this. This is good. Ecclesiastes 5, verse 1. You know, before it gets to verse 3, where it says the dream comes through a multitude of business, verse 1 says this. It says, keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. See, so it's not really about all your sacrifices. It's about obedience. I would rather obedience than sacrifice. So sometimes we do good deeds because we create our own penance. You know, I'm not doing right. You know, God may tell you to tithe. So instead of tithing, you go, okay, well, what I'll do is, you know, I'll give all the kids at the church candy. You know, so that's your penance, you know, but that's not what God said. You see what I'm saying? Like, so you can't create your own rules for this thing. You want to be obedient to what God says. So, and sometimes we're okay with our sacrifices or what we consider sacrifices, but God just wants you to be obedient. You know, if when he talked to Saul, and he says, well, you know, we helped you out. We saved all the best sheep and stuff like that. Samuel said, God would rather obedience than sacrifice. That's the most important thing. So don't just do something religiously and think it's good with that. But okay, let's get back to this scripture. When it says keep thy foot, it's saying give your mind to what you're doing. So attach your mind. You know, the scripture says in Colossians, set your affection on things above. So when it says keep thy foot, it's saying lock your mind in. Don't be too busy to pay attention, but lock your mind in when you go into the house of God. Look, be more ready to hear, and we can add to that, and obey, than to give the sacrifice of fools. That means don't just come in to say, I sacrifice for being in the house, because that person will be carelessly irreverent. Carelessly irreverent. So the person is thinking that just them coming into the house, again, they're doing God a favor. Sacrifice is always like, I'm doing you a favor. He said, I would rather you be obedient. It says, for they consider not that they do evil. They're too ignorant to know that they're doing evil. And you might say, well, what evil are they doing? They're in church. They're standing at the door. They said about 7, God bless yous. Well, the evil that they're doing is anything that's not obedient is evil. They're at the door saying the God bless yous when maybe they should be on their face at the altar. They're at the door saying the bless you when maybe God has somebody crying and he wants them to talk to. We got to stay attentive and be obedient. It's all about obedience, right? So the whole thing about obedience, remember he says, they that worship him in spirit and in truth. In spirit and in truth. And the thing is, you know, especially those around here that might be seers or you know, discerners, their appetite for that person is truth. God is the ultimate seer. He shows you things to come. So it's about truth. It's about reality. You know, I know some of this attaches to Sunday's message, so I won't get too deep into it, but it's about truth. God's house is not a place to to front or to be in disguise. And that's what a lot of the when he calls it evil, because we come in hiding or not coming in spirit and in truth, submerged in the spirit and in the reality of who we are. The trip is, God sees you. Do you? The Bible says God looks on the heart, so God sees exactly who you are. And that's frustrating to God that we would come into his house with a front. You're like this when you say they're insulting your intelligence. So Mr. Sammy, they're talking to you like you stupid. That's really not an orange shirt. It's really more brown, and open collar on the top. That's probably not how you want to wear that. They're like talking to you like it's your first time dressing. You know what I'm saying? Like first time putting on clothes. That insults your intelligence when people do that to you. Now you have to have humility. I have people sit me down and go. I had one guy call me up and said, "Pull out your Bible," and he would go through scriptures. Some of the stuff I knew the scriptures backwards and forwards. I just listened to it. I said I figured within this hour conversation I'll probably get a nugget that I don't know, but most of the stuff. But he was talking to me like basic Bible stuff. Like I was just like, but he was talking to me like he's like supernatural revelation. Like I was like, okay. But turn to such and such, so the such and such this. I was like, okay. And I think I told my wife, I said, baby, I think it'll work better if you would just said, now, have you read this before? I mean, that would have helped a little bit, like, give me some type of, but I just said, opportunity for humility. I just sit there and soak it up. I just go on and, okay. What's the next chapter? I would turn to all the chapters. I just turned to him. I could have quoted it for him before we got there, but I just turned to the chapter and walk him through it. I said that to say, okay, that's a man coming to a man. We can't come to God like that. You can't be talking to God. God created everything. So don't come to him in disguise. That's why the scripture says, come as you are. You got to come to him genuine. This is, remember in the Lord's Supper it says properly discern the Lord's body. But I think coming into the house, to me, is always like a Lord's Supper. We're embracing all those things in 1 Corinthians 11. We're breaking all those things when we come together. It's just us participating in the Lord's Supper. That's why it's so valuable to come into the house. This is a season the Lord was sharing with me, a season for relationships, to cultivate relationships, not run from them. Cultivate relationships, not run from them. It's not good for man to be alone. You have to recognize the season you're in, instead of being in. So it's not just about training; it's what you're training for, and time and the season. So I was talking to some people, and I might have shared this Sunday. I don't remember. I'm talking to so many people, but how, let's say you're in a cloud and you come out of the cloud. Actually, I was sharing this with the young minister. I said, so you come out of a cloud and you go, man, took a hit. So I'm just take some time, regroup. And right now I'm not really sure. So you was all in and you got hurt. So then after you got hurt, you said, okay, listen, before I get all in and do anything, I just want to take a break. Who's to say? Now, when you made that statement, was you making the statement based on the season you was in? Or was you making a statement based on the circumstance that happened to you? See, you have to make decisions based on the season you're in. Because to everything there's a season, but there's a time for every purpose. So if you reckon, and each season is leading up to the ultimate purpose. So you can some things you can't afford because you're at a certain time. So, you have to take a test on Friday. And so you're going through the paperwork, and all of a sudden your computer breaks down. So you work so hard to put all the information together, so you say to yourself, man, I'm just tired, I'm just going to take a break right now. Really? No, you can't take a break because you got to get all the information together because there's a time you're taking that test. And it's the same thing in your life. You have to be so aware of where you are, because sometimes we have this laissez-faire. I'm not telling you to rush. I'm not telling you not to be patient. I'm telling you to be in God's presence and listen to his timing for things. That's why we come into the house to confirm some of those things.
Thanks for tuning in to today's broadcast. To view videos or make donations, feel free to access our website at www.heirscc.org.